All right, we are back after a week-long break. This is Homestar, and we're doing Ace
Yay.
Attorney on Naked Spaghetti. All right. No, in all seriousness, we are back. We took a break for about a week, and so now we're back in this giant-ass clock tower. And the last time we were here, we found out that Homestar Sasato is going back to Japan because something happened, and we're gonna find out what it is. And you'll definitely hear more Homestar voice tonight.
Yeah, because we don't know where Sylph is.
Well, no, she's I'm not gonna say it on the air, but yeah, it's been tough.
Aye.
All right, let's find out what
Let's
happened.
Go, Homestar.
This Sasato, what's all this about? Oh, please don't concern yourself, Mr. Naruhodo. It's only me going back to Japan. Your life here can continue just as... that's not what I asked. What happened? Why are you leaving? It's my father. He's fallen ill.
Oh
Professor Mikatoba? If I may. Yes, sorry. You must be the defendant. Renosuke Naruhodo, I believe. Yes, that's right. My name is Yushin Mikatoba. I'm a professor of forensic medicine at Yume University. We received an international telegram from the Empire of Japan informing us of the news. 10 days ago, father collapsed with a fever. The cause is apparently unknown. And it seems he grows weaker day by day. I don't believe it. As you are aware, the voyage from here to your country's capital, Tokyo, takes some 50 days. I thought it would be prudent to hasten Miss Sasato's departure as much as possible. Yes, absolutely. I will leave London first thing tomorrow morning. I can't believe this is happening. So Gina has been charged? She'll have to appeal in court? Yes, she was formally charged a few hours ago, and the date of the trial has already been set for tomorrow. No, not even 24 hours later? Gina? Ah, the Lestrade girl in the murder of the Baker Street pawnbroker, yes. An all too conspicuous case. The pickpocket was clearly disturbed mid-robbery and shot the man in a panic. No, the yard is overstretched as it is without wasting time on these open and shut cases.
It's not wasting time. Ginny would never do something like that.
Mr. Naruhodo? Oh, yes, Lord Strongheart? In deference of your fine services to date, I shall overlook this young girl's insolence. But I have no recollection of admitting a child into my office. Leave now.
Oh, those are fighting words.
You wanna go? You wanna go? Of course, Lord Strongheart. Criminals will tell the most palpable lies in order to evade justice. The police can ill afford the time it takes to unravel all their untruths. Meanwhile, more crimes are perpetrated. We have far more serious matters with which to contend. Serious matters? Didn't Gregson mention something like that yesterday? Yes, Inspector Gregson made a similar remark yesterday. It's no concern of yours, though I'm sure I need not remind you of that. "3 minutes precisely until my next meeting. You must excuse me." There's just one more thing, Lord Strongheart. Which is... it's Miss Lestrade's trial. I wonder if you might permit me to defend her? A timely suggestion. Sorry? The girl currently has no representation.
But that's not fair. Yes, she may be a pickpocket, but she still deserves a fair trial.
Do not misunderstand me, young lady. The government provides for those too poor to afford representation with a public defender. The accused need only sign the relevant paperwork and a defense barrister will be assigned to the case. However, the young girl in question has refused that right. Why would she do that? A question you would do well to direct at Miss Lestrade. You'll find her at the local prison. Yes, thank you. Now then, it's time I was leaving. Good day to you. What a day.
I thought he was going to say, what a dick.
What? I thought I was going to go Tommy Wiseau there for a second. What a day. But I know you think he's a dick, so you could say what a dick if you want. You dick! Gina charged with murder. Sasato-san about to leave. Come, Mr. Naruhodo. Iris, we must make haste.
But, Susie, you're leaving for Japan tomorrow morning, aren't you? Don't you have packing and things to do?
As Mr. Naruhodo's judicial assistant, my personal circumstances are of no consequence. Plus, the only thing I'm bringing on the boat are fluffy puff marshmallows. My sole purpose remains to help you in whatever way I can. Thank you, Miss Sasato. That's a very pensive look. That's the look of somebody that didn't drink 120 glasses of melonade. If I'm honest, this has completely thrown me off. So I'll just have to do what I can as a lawyer.
Yes, so whatever.
Oh, yes. Yes, Sylph.
Hey.
Day 7. Give it up. Give me a 1. Give me a 2. Hello, Gina.
Launcher Hellion I made.
I wish you wouldn't point it at me all the time, though.
You don't trust men at all.
I have a feeling it's because of us that you've ended up in trouble. So we were thinking that we might be able to help you.
Well, you can't.
Sorry?
Get lost. Don't be like that, Ginny. I know you didn't do it. You'd never shoot someone. I just know you wouldn't. You think you know me. Pull the other one. You ain't got the first idea about the likes of me. I'm a thief. I pinch people's purses when they're walking down the street. That's all I get by.
Well, we already know that from the trial.
If I saw me a chance, I'd sneak into a pawn shop any day of the week. Just to see what I could lay me hands on. Got it. That's the kind of person I am. But Ginny, I'll be in court tomorrow, they said. Someone came by before and said he'd be a lawyer for me and the like. Said it was my right or something. But I told him to get stopped. I don't need a lawyer. I don't need no one.
She couldn't be staring at me any more obviously if she tried.
Why are you being like this, Ginny?
Sylph says, yes, but petty thief is not the same as murder, contrary to those anti-piracy ads.
Oh, the cruel sense of irony.
Ouch. That is one stern look Sasato-san is giving Gina. I used to win stealing contests with Strong Bad.
Yeah, but who won? Strawbad or you?
I always win. I'm the host star winner. I'm a terrific athlete.
I beg to differ.
Ooh, she gonna get it. I don't understand, Gina. Why did you send the public defender away?
They wanted me to sign some papers. Representation papers or something like that.
Star Sato, you go, girl.
It's all gonna be rigged anyway, the whole trial. They'll pay on me because I'm a kid. That's what grown-ups always do. Why do you think that? Cause that's how it's been for me. Growing up in the back slums my whole life. If you do what the grown-ups tell you, it'll get your mind struck off by the coppers, or worse. I've happened to me before, no? Been sold out and nearly snaffled on the back of it. You can't trust no one. That's the point. Soon as you do, you're gone to grass. Dead.
Oh, Iris, you sweet summer child.
Yes. She is a summer child.
Gina, listen. If you like, in tomorrow's trial, I could...
Forget it! Ginny! Don't you trust her enough? Nah, I don't.
Well...
Look, skill nicer now. Just leave me alone.
We better get out of here before it turns into the Jerry Springer show.
Will you tell us what happened, Gina? Last night at the pawnbrokers.
There's nothing to tell. I figured it'd pay me, so I broke into the place and started going through the storeroom.
Trust nobody. Not even Squidward's house.
Oh.
But the old bloke walked in on me and you know the rest. But why? Why, Ginny? Why would you do that? Ain't obvious. The place is full of stuff I could sell for a shilling or two. Starving ain't easy, you know. It's lots of work, and half of the time you don't even get nothing.
Is that really why you broke into the place?
What?
Are you sure the true reason wasn't something else?
Oh, give it a rest. What be the point anyway, eh? Nothing I said would make a blind bit of difference. Please, tell us, Ginny. We believe you. Whatever it is. Believe me? Don't be daft. You can't believe nothing. Everyone lies all the time. And you know what? When it comes to liars, I'm the biggest of the lot. I've told some unforgivable lies, I have. What do you mean by that? What unforgivable lies?
What did you mean before, Gina, when you said you were the biggest liar of the lot? Oh, look, who's here? Pastor. Hey, hey, hey.
Pastor, forgive me for my sins. The spaghetti monster's been after me, tennis.
Why don't you tell us what these unforgivable lies you've told are? Maybe we can help.
Die. We're out of time. They're gonna want to question me now. Jenny, please. Oh, yeah.
All is forgiven in the name of the
I
spaghetti
wanted to give
monster.
them this. Something to remember me by.
Yay!
A photographic print of a really adorable cat.
Kitty, 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 kitty!
It's a snowy kitty, too.
Kitty!
I found it in one of the pockets of this coat. Aunt now pointed me oven it. I wonder what a little photograph like that was doing in the pocket of their overcoat. Anyway, don't bother coming again. Bye.
Oh, like Harvester, you're just gonna be like, bye!
Oh,
At least they're not obsessing about the meat.
Yeah, right? If their name isn't Snow or Snowball, I will be sad talking about the kitty.
Oh.
Or Snowdrop.
Hmm?
Or Snowdrop.
What about Frostbite? Or Stone Cold?
Frosty.
Frosty?
Like the snowman.
Gina. I wonder if you might hear me out. There's something I'd like to say. My email account is djmakowitz@homestar10.com.
But
Maybe if the cat has different color arms? I'm sorry to say that I must reluctantly bid you farewell.
well.
Tomorrow, I must begin my journey back home to Japan. I fear we may never meet again.
Oh, right.
I've had the pleasure of meeting so many lovely people here in London. I have so many wonderful memories. And yet, as things stand now, it will be a glum parting indeed. Poor Iris is so miserable. Pastor says blue balls should be the name of the cat.
I love Pastor.
Susie. Val, that ain't my business. She's a bitch, man.
Well, I could bring you back some melonade. Both Iris
I'm gonna
and
be
Miss...
dead by then. not going to be able to have a taste of it.
Well, maybe before they put you, whatever they do when it comes to the death penalty here, you can have some marshmallows and melonade beforehand, and then everything goes.
Homestar. Please.
Both Iris
I'm
and
pretty sure
Mr.
that the sentence is going to be immediate.
I'm imagining the Kermit meme right now.
Both Iris and Mr. Naruhodo believe you to be innocent, Gina. They put their faith in you. But somehow, you can't find it into your heart to put your faith in them.
Yeah, that's right, I can. What of it?
It grieves me greatly to have to say goodbye to my friends when they are so clearly unhappy. Because of you.
It's my fault.
Yes!
Oh, God.
Yes. So I have one final request, Gina, before our paths never cross again. Right here and now. I want you to show both of them that you don't deserve the faith they've invested in you. Only by doing that will you truly be as alone as you claim to be.
What are you talking about? What do you expect me to do, eh?
You've told us that everyone lies, including Strongbad. So prove it by admitting one of your own untruths.
What about what you said before, Ginny? You said something about unforgivable lies.
She's looking at the camera.
No, she's not.
No, I'm talking about Gina.
She's staring a hole in our souls.
Yeah.
You must tell Mr. Naruhodo and Iris the truth now. That is my last request before I leave. My last request is a judicial assistant.
No, I can't.
Whatever these lies are, they're obviously weighing very heavily on Gina's mind. Gina, I could be wrong, but is it something to do with what happened 2 months ago? Something about that trial? The one in which Magnus McGilded was acquitted? The case of that mysterious murder that took place inside the omnibus. You were called as a witness by the prosecution. Is that what this is about?
Yeah, you're right.
Rip R.I.P. Ring Pop Man.
Because in that trial, I lied. I lied like you wouldn't believe.
Will you tell us about it now?
Like you said, it all appeared up until months ago. The coppers got hold of me and shot me in the witness stand.
And based on your testimony, Mr. McGilded was declared innocent.
Yeah, well, the thing is, I lied about a bunch of stuff.
I knew it. What sort of thing did you lie about?
I was hidden under the seat that night. That was the truth. It was pitch black inside the little cubby hole. I couldn't see a thing. And then
Oh,
I heard a loud thud, like someone falling on the floor.
And that's when Mr. McGilded discovered you?
Yeah. It pulled me from under the seat and sat me next to the dead man. There weren't much light to see by, but when I looked at me hands and I had curved blood all over them,
Did this angry little man threaten to turn her into a knife block? I swear to frick.
I was so scared. I couldn't even speak.
You had his blood on your hands? In other words, it was Gina that the witnesses on the roof deck saw through the skylight.
Then Mr. McGilded started asking you questions, I suppose. Who you are and why you were hiding under the seat.
Yeah, it did. Only, that's not all.
What do you mean?
I mean, it threatened me.
Threatened you how?
It made me swear about what I'd seen and what I heard. About what he was gonna do after the curve was found dead. It made me swear I wouldn't tell no one about any of it. If after that, it let me scupper before the coppers showed up.
Gina, you must tell me what he swore you to secrecy about. What you saw, what you heard, everything. You said McGilded made you swear not to tell anybody what you saw. But you were in the pitch black compartment under the seat the whole time, weren't you?
Yes, with Mr. McGilded sitting above your head, if I remember correctly.
Yeah, that's true. But it was when I heard the thud of the cove hitting the floor, I let out a scream, say. Couldn't help it. McGilded heard that and dragged me out by my arm, and that's when I saw it. It was on the floor next to the geezer would have been stabbed. A disc, all bright and shiny.
A disc?
Do you mean...
Yeah, that's it. The one with the D took off me at Windy Banks.
So the music box disc was there, on the floor of the omnibus?
Not for long. McGilded spotted it right away. It picked it up, small tush, and stuffed it inside its pocket.
So that disc was in the omnibus 2 months ago at the scene of Mr. Mason's murder.
And the bog turtle told me. I went to mutter a word about it to no one. Because it was so dark under the seat in the cab, I was straining my ears the whole time. After a while, I heard the door and footsteps inside the cabin.
Presumably that was McGilded getting on board. Sylph's like, whoa, I forgot they put a slur there.
Nah, not only him.
Oh.
Cause I could definitely make out the footsteps of two people.
In that case, it would seem likely that it was Mr. McGilded and the victim.
Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason.
In his testimony during the trial, Mr. McGilded claimed he slept during the carriage ride.
But whenever I'm in a carriage, I'm taken with a fierce tiredness, and I always succumb to it.
And your own testimony, Gina, supported his.
All I could add was the Oshman snoring. Yeah, that wasn't exactly true. Neither of them were asleep. I could hear them talking all the time in low voices.
What? What were they talking about?
Sorry, I don't know. The sound of the horses and the wheels was too loud.
But that still tells us something. Mr. McGilden and the victim knew each other.
So McGilded was lying, as I suspected.
I knew it wasn't going to be long before someone raised the alarm and the bloke got been killed.
Yes, you were quite right. The other passengers on the roof deck noticed very quickly.
So when the car came to a stop, McGill told me to iron under the seat again. I climbed in and waited. The two coves from up top ran off to get the coppers.
Yes, Mr. Fairplay and Mr. First.
Right. After they're gone, McGill did ask the driver to do him a favor.
A favor? Now then, fella, what I need you to do is take this coat of mine and deposit it with a nearby pawnbroker. And for your troubles, let's see now. I'll give you 10 guineas. Mamma mia! A nearby pawnbroker? You mean on Baker Street?
Yep, you got it. It was Windybanks. The coaches snapped up the money and ran off to pop his coat as fast as he could. So then, there was no one left in the carriage. McGill did open the box under the seat and let me get out of there, but not without conditions.
I see.
What were McGilded's conditions then? For letting you go free, I mean. It can't blame him, poor man freezing for little pay.
Not telling a soul, not for anything, but what I saw and what I heard. And there was something else as well.
There's more?
Yeah. This is the most important thing, he said.
I'm after sending the coachman on a little errand for me with some small change in his hand. Now then, did you hear what I asked of him? Did you see anything at all?
You asked him to go and pop your weasel, right?
Aye. The fiend's taken me overcoat to deposit with a pawnbroker hereabouts. And I want you, lass, to take the redemption ticket for it. Do you understand?
What? You want me to have the ticket?
That's right. And I'll come fetch it from you later. Sometime within the next 2 months. You're to hang on to it until then. Is that clear? And whatever you do, don't lose it.
Alright then.
And in case I might happen to be delayed at all, you're to go to the pawn shop, Windybanks so it is, and you're to extend the loan before the 2 months is up. If you forget, the article will be forfeited and any old fiend can come along and buy it.
But
Here's £5. That should be enough. Do we understand each other, lass? Don't try anything funny now, if you go against me.
Yeah, I'll get it.
Good. And one more thing. In a few days from now, you'll be visited by the police, I've no doubt.
The compass?
The money is totally in that huge-ass hat.
I agree.
I'm like Willy Wonka, except I keep all the... Instead of chocolate, I keep all the money flowing out of the waterfall. They'll come asking you to take the stand in court, to testify as a witness. So let's just have a wee chat about that, shall we? What is it that you might say? And what is it that you won't? Sylph's like, I mean, he's shorter than him. She could kick him on the shins and run screaming.
I just steal the big ass hat.
After going over to a party, got as far away from that as I could. It is in the pawnbroker's ticket in some bushes near the scene. I went to fetch it the next day once it got dark.
So McGilded planned it. And coerced Gina into giving false testimony. Short guys equals small but terrible.
I bet you're ready to string me up there. I lied. In that big old courtroom, I told some corkers. The thing is, he said it wouldn't make it, so we couldn't live in the East End no more.
Sylph responding to Pastor, with the exception of Danny DeVito. He's the only one that can't be small but terrible.
Hey, don't fucking make fun of Danny. I will kick your ass. We love Mason DeVito.
And that's what he threatened me with. What a wicked man! He knew everything went on the back slums. He knew we had no one to look after us, and we was all just looking out for each other, get the bar together.
Pastor is laughing, saying Corker's British accent.
We are in London, so what are you talking about?
So you mean Mr. McGilded would have...
In an airbeat, it could have had a lot of us chased out of there if he wanted. And then, where we could have gone, eh? Nowhere, that's where. There, I didn't have no choice.
Thank you, Gina, for telling us everything.
But, I'm fine now, eh? Go on, admit it. You must be livid.
Pastor saying, Peter Dinklage, I will still bend over for you. Well, you can make amends by doing me a simple favor.
A favor? What?
Sylph saying, oh boy, blackmailing a child for being in the wrong place.
Yep.
Sign,
Back in the day.
sign the representation papers for tomorrow's trial. If you don't actually want me to represent you in court, you can rip it up later. But we need that paperwork or we can't investigate. The police won't let us.
Investigate what?
The scene of the incident last night. Mr. Sholmes was shot, you see.
You what?
No, I didn't do it. I'm just saying he got shot. I didn't do it.
Kelly's having a big operation right now, Ginny. Is it bad? alright. Sean's gonna be alright. Right?
I'm all right. I'm over here, just enjoying myself over at the bed.
That's why I want to investigate, for Mr. Sholmes' sake as much as anything.
God. So what you're saying is, if I sign that bit of paper, everyone's happy, is that it?
Something like that. Mrs. Sato?
Yes, of course. I have the representation papers here. Sustained.
This woman's magic.
Over here pretending to be a statue. Nobody questions your sanity if you act like you're on pain meds more often than not.
I don't need. Hey, I was reading that, damn it.
And
Don't
short,
worry, it'll work.
in short, she signed the papers.
Oh, Ginny, she seems so lonely.
Well, at least this should mean we can investigate the scene at Windy Banks now.
Oh,
And perhaps we can come back to visit Ginny when we're done there.
well, my character did want to off himself.
I feel like we finally cracked Gina. She's opened up to us at last. And now I have her representation papers. No one else knows just what a responsibility that is. Anyway, for now it means Inspector Gregson can't stop us investigating at Windy Banks.
You smart-ass kid.
You're still here, motherfucker! Like earning the trust of a stray cat. Sylph says. Although something tells me he's not going to be happy about it. Well, it's not to be continued because we're still moving forward. So we're going to keep going.
Yeah. Because we got a whole hour to fill up.
That's right. Wrong game, Mooney.
I did that. I'm doing it just for laughs, okay?
We'll get to that game eventually. Just one investigation game at a time. Here we are again at the scene of the crime. Now to thrust these representation papers in Gregson's face and see what he makes of them. I'm thinking they're just going to smother him right in his face. He's like, see this, old man? Here, take it. And then he just eats it. Hello again, Inspector. Do you have a minute, please?
What is it now? You should go home and get some rest.
Here you are, Gracie. Here are the representation papers.
Your ladyship. Oh!
Blah! Assert dominance by using them as a napkin while maintaining eye contact. And then she says, full eye contact and never blinking.
I don't believe it. How the devil did you get that stubborn little Radagabash to sign that? I salute you. That is good work. That is.
I can see you've been very busy here as well. How about some tea? It's a special blend designed to relieve fatigue.
Glug, 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 glug.
Some damn good tea. Ah, lovely. Well, let's see now. Yes. I hardly feel tired at all. I'm fit as a fiddle, your ladyship.
Would it be alright if we investigated the scene of the crime then? Sylph saying, even her thermos is cute.
Do as you please. You know where it happened. Through that door behind the counter.
Yes, the storeroom. That's where I discovered Mr. Windybank and Gina.
Right, well, I'm getting back to business then.
Will you be investigating in the storeroom as well, Inspector?
If I'm perfectly honest, we need to wrap this up before long. Can't afford to spend too much time on it.
Pastor saying, ooh, storeroom tea.
But there are so many articles to go through. It's taken forever, even with the lads working on around the clock. Which is a problem, because there's another case the Yard needs to investigate urgently.
That must be what Lord Strongheart meant by far more serious matters before.
So what I'm saying is, don't get under my feet, Sunshine.
Come then! Let us not waste any time!
There's the article ledger here, and Mr. Windybank's notes, and... What's this? It looks as though someone has left a little photographic print behind.
Oh! Look on the back! There's some whiting!
Is that? Ooh, show us, Susie. Show us.
So says, great, now I've got Walking on Sunshine stuck in my head.
I'm walking on sunshine.
We're gonna have to play that for Sylph when she comes back.
15th February, 10:30 p.m. Article deposited, one gentleman's overcoat. Loan amount paid, £1. Redemption deadline, 15th April, 10:30 p.m.
A gentleman's overcoat pawns for £1? Clearly, it was a very fine coat. In fact, I think...
Yes, it must be the ticket for the overcoat that Ginny redeemed yesterday.
And it's still wearing, which belonged to McGilded. I would never have expected the redemption ticket to be handwritten on the back of a photograph, though.
It seems Mr. Wendyban just used whatever piece of paper he happened to have to hand.
Oh,
But this photograph of a cat... It looks very familiar, doesn't it? I'm sure I've seen this exact same picture somewhere else recently.
Oh, yes, you're right. Very recently. It's the same one as the one Ginny gave us earlier.
Of course! I was forgetting that she gave us that print.
Well, what are you waiting for then, Mr. Naruhodo? Get it out!
All right. Let the cogs turn.
She's done you.
Yes, they are exactly the same.
Well, if the one on the counter was used as a redemption ticket... Sylph's
Don't
like,
say-
let it out! Let it out!
Joe's Eric Andre meme.
Perhaps the other photograph that Gina gave us has something written on the back, too.
I've got it. These two photographs have an amazing secret.
A secret? What does she mean?
You must tell us, Iris, at once!
Do you really want to know?
Yes, we need you to tell us all you know about this pair of photographs. So, Iris, about these two photographic prints. The one we found here on Mr. Wendybank's counter and the one Gina gave us before. What is this amazing secret you mentioned that's hidden between these two identical prints?
Actually, that's not quite right.
Sorry?
If you look carefully, the two prints aren't the same. Not exactly.
Right.
They're not?
Have another look at them now.
Sylph saying, Elliot is laying on my legs and I need to shift.
Can you see that they're slightly different from each other?
I think so. It's very subtle, though.
But what's the reason for the subtle difference between the two prints?
Well, it's because they're a set, you see?
No, I don't.
This pair of photographs is meant to be used in a stereoscope. Everyone in London is raving about them at the moment.
Ah, stereoscope. Why do I feel as though I've heard that word before recently?
Oh, yes. That's what Mr. Sholmes showed us yesterday. You see? There it is. Just over there.
Ah, yes, of course. That magical machine that makes pictures look almost real enough to touch.
Well, actually, it's quite possible to see the same depth in pictures even without one of those contraptions.
What? Really?
Do you know how a pair of flat photographic prints can appear to have any depth in the first place?
No, I have no idea.
Oh, wonderful. Then I'll be able to tell you.
She's over the moon, bless her. Should we let her explain, though? We really need to carry on investigating the scene.
I, for one, simply have to know.
Have you ever considered, Bruno, how our eyes see depth in the world around us?
Well, I just open them, and it works.
But the reason it works is because we have two eyes.
2 eyes. Shocking.
If you try closing just one eye at a time, I think you'll see straight away. What you see with your left eye and what you see in your right eye are ever so slightly different. You get a different view with each eye.
Yes, the position of objects seems to shift slightly.
Exactly. And in your head, your brain uses this shift to estimate depth as it merges into two views into one.
Sylph saying she's too pure.
Yeah.
She's a cinnamon roll. That's how we can sense depth in everything we see.
My brain is really amazing, isn't it? It does so much without telling me.
Ah, I think I see. So the pair of photographs consist of a left eye view and a right eye view. Is that right?
Well done, Susie. You're so quick.
So if you could persuade your brain to merge the two pictures together in your head, you'd be able to see depth in these prints?
Yes, Runa. You're beginning to understand.
And a stereoscope's function is to act as your brain and allow you to do just that?
Yes, but long as you have 2 images, 2 eyes, and 1 brain, you can actually do it yourself without needing the stereoscope at all.
You can? Really?
Let's try it. Let's see if you can view the pair of pins without the help of a stereoscope.
Oh, yes! I'm dying to have a go.
Sasato-san really loves this kind of thing.
You need to be able to cross your eyes. That's the main thing. Can you both do that?
Cross my eyes? I think I can.
Watch me. And see if you can copy. Make your eyes do this.
Alright, let me try. Are you ready, Mr. Naohoyo?
Oh my god. I can do that.
There! How's that?
Wonderful. Now it's your turn, Bruno.
Oh my.
The trick is to concentrate on looking at the bridge of your nose with both eyes at the same time.
Not exactly an easy task when 2 people are staring at you cross-eyed.
Alright, that's enough practice. Now let's try looking at the prints. Start by looking at one print and slowly crossing your eyes.
I want to remind people, this was originally on the 3DS, so this was a part of the 3D function when this was in Japan.
You should see 2 overlapping images like this.
And self-saying that feeling when you try to mirror an eye in your art program by flipping that layer.
Twinkle, twinkle, little star, why is art so fucking hard? Now you try, Rudolph.
I'm just gonna have to give it a try, I suppose.
Did the print split into 2 images for you? Now the next step is to put the pair of pins side by side like this and try to crossing your eyes again.
This is gonna give me a headache.
The prints should slowly merge together until they form a new single image in the center.
Oh, yes!
Easy there.
Kitty. Mr. Naohoyo, it works! I can see it in the middle now. It looks so real! Oh, I can look at it all day.
Sylph is like, calm down there, Star Sato. I wouldn't advise that. Your eyes might start to hurt.
Your turn, Rudolph. It's now to you looking at the 2 pictures and slowly cross your eyes. Keep adjusting the position of your eyes until the 2 images overlap exactly in the middle.
Like, this is it?
There, you managed it. Now, so now you know how stereoscopic images work.
Well, I don't know who discovered it, but it really is quite extraordinary.
So what do you think of the new stereoscopic print then, Nuno?
They're certainly amazing, but it isn't easy to get the knack of viewing them properly.
So, some people find it easier than others. But that's why contraptions like these exist. For people who found it tricky.
Oh, I recognize that. We saw one over there yesterday, didn't we? If I remember correctly, you press this little knob here. Then set this pair of photographs in the stand at the back and...
It's still amazing, even though I know roughly how it works now. Sylph saying, Elliot being all, I like your company, but I'm going to relax a little bit away, but not too far away.
Well, London seems to agree with you. Stereoscopes are very popular at the moment. You can find one of these folding contraptions in lots of households in the capital currently.
But if these little machines are so affordable, surely there's no need to go around staring cross-eyed at pictures like you hate them.
But it's much more satisfying to be able to see the effect with your own eyes. Well, I think so in any case.
Stereoscopic pictures. I've never even heard of them until yesterday. We certainly learned a lot about them, but I wonder if it's knowledge that I'll ever actually need. Sylph saying, same spot he sits when I'm at my laptop. If I turn to look at him when it's too late, he meows at me like he's scolding me. Which reminds me, the back of this photograph was used to write out the pawnbroker's ticket that Gina brought in here yesterday. And the other photograph came from the pocket of McGilded's overcoat.
We need to examine everything thoroughly, don't forget.
Ah, look here. Oh, yes, a bullet hole. And I could see the bullet is still lodged in the wall.
Presumably, Mr. Windybank wasn't practicing with his revolver in his spare time.
Oh, God.
Well, thanks a lot.
Ah, well... Mr. Sholmes likes to practice in his drawing room whenever he can. He's very patriotic like that.
Sorry?
Self says, 7 years of bad luck for whoever did that.
Also, I want that coat.
Of course you do.
It's all there in the adventures of Herlock Sholmes, you know. Isn't that right, Iris?
Ah, did I write something like that? Partly in jest, yes.
In jest?
Well, he doesn't do it often. It is quite dangerous pastime.
He doesn't do it often? He shouldn't even do it once!
Forget about that now, Rulo. Let's examine the bullet.
What's that around the bullet hole? Is it blood? A suspicious red stain on the calendar.
I may well be able to help with that.
What? Pastor saying it's ketchup.
There's nothing like the sight of blood to get the blood popping, is there, Bruno?
I have a feeling I'm not as bloody-minded as you, Iris. Sylph saying it's marinara sauce. And now she's hungry.
Me too.
I have some mozzarella sticks in my freezer with some marinara sauce, so I wish I could share it, but I can't.
Do you have
That's
melonade
right,
with you
I'll
too?
some.
Do I have what?
Melonade.
You know, I wish I had melonade, but I don't. Oh, that Homer meme. Pastor saying.
That's fine. After this, I'm gonna drink some eggnog.
Pardon?
Oh.
Not. It ain't the time for that. I got gotta wait until tomorrow because I have Friday off. I'll drink
Aw.
this.
I'm afraid the sight of blood makes my blood run cold.
And there you have it, you see? When it comes to blood, we're all different types.
Yes. What a scientific observation. Self saying, I wish I had SpaghettiOs. I don't require much.
Ew, SpaghettiOs.
So you need this.
Oh no. What is that scary looking thing?
She gonna probe you.
Haley and I haven't actually come up with a name for it yet. But as soon as you see it in action, you'll understand what it does.
It's a gun.
Watch.
Self says, wait, I have Dino egg oatmeal. Oh! The color of the blood stain has changed.
Does it make sense now?
Yes, I think I'm starting to understand.
Good. It works on the principle that different people have different types of blood, you see?
Yes! How wonderful!
The chemical it fires combines with the blood and makes it change color. So you can identify whose blood it is when you're looking at it in a flash.
Oh, what a fabulous invention, Iris!
Isn't it? Isn't it? I bet Gina would say it's bleeding bright.
So, whose blood are we looking at then?
Well, all the chemical does is turn the blood to a different color, so... Just find someone whose blood turns the same color and you'll know who it belongs to in a flash.
It's more like two flashes, really, isn't it?
One flash or two, this could well turn out to be a very valuable clue. So we must make note of it in the court record! Let's keep testing and adding the results of any other blood analysis to the portfolio!
As long as I have Regis left, sure.
Mr. Naohodo, I don't know if you've noticed, but there's something rather troubling here.
I have noticed.
The red smear, you mean?
Yes, it looks like blood, doesn't it? I wondered if Sasatsu-san had picked up on that. Well, in that case,
Yes, we need Iris.
we should show this to her before we forget.
That looks like blood.
I would say it's from a gloved finger. Almost certainly a glove made of leather.
Well, don't worry, Bruno. You can leave the rest to me.
Look at that.
Yes, the color. It's a color we haven't seen before, isn't it?
We simply must add it to the portfolio of blood samples. It could be an important clue. Although, it would be nice to find out whose blood these different colors correspond to at some point.
Well, this particular stain of blood.
Oh, you have an idea, haven't you? Do you know whose blood it is?
Yes, I have an idea whose blood it is. Not from the color it turned, but with a little deduction.
That's right. I think it's clear.
Iris, you know as well?
You, Professor Renault, what do you think it belongs to?
Alright, I believe that this is the blood of... Thrice-fired Mason.
You don't sound very sure of yourself the way you trailed off there.
Well, it was 2 months ago now, that case. And of course, I never met the victim, so I'm struggling to remember his name. He was definitely thrice fired, though.
The victim of the omnibus case? Yes, his name was indeed Mr. Thrice-Fired Mason. But that would mean that this blood stain was left on the ticket 2 months ago.
Yes, I think it was. Gina brought this ticket here to Wendy Banks yesterday. I'm suggesting that the blood stain was already on it at that time.
So it's a smear blood from that time that Mr. Mason was killed 2 months ago.
Something else is coming back to me now. Mr. McGilded was also wearing leather gloves that night.
Now I ask yous, what good-hearted soul wouldn't rush to help a fella bleeding from his stomach? I wasn't about to start worrying about me gloves now, was I? I reached out to give the man a hand. It certainly does look like a leather glove thumbprint, this mark. But we know that Mr. McGilded had no injuries at the time, anywhere on his body. From which we can conclude that any blood on the glove belonged to the victim, Mr. Mason.
Mr. Naruhodo, you sound just like Mr. Sholmes.
Minus the quirky slip-ups, I hope.
Yes, I think you're right, Bruno.
Very well. Let's make a note of this.
Behind that door. It's a storeroom, isn't it? That's where Gregsy said.
Yes, and that's where I saw that dreadful scene last night. Through the little window in the door. Mr. Wendybank, face down on the floor, with Gina beside him.
As the accused's legal representative, you have the right to examine the scene, Mr. Naruhodo. We must make a thorough investigation.
Yes, of course, and we will. Behind that door, that's the real scene of the crime.
Don't worry. If there are any clues in there, I'll find them.
Poor Iris. She's clammed up completely.
Iris is bound to find this difficult. After all, Mr. Wendybank's life was taken in this very room only last night.
Wait, Inspector?
What is it now, Sunshine?
You took one look at me and tried to run away.
You think Scotland Yard's inspectors would run away from some jump-up little defense lawyer, do ya? Oh, just well. I never got to see her ladyship looking like that before. It's the thing. I don't know what to say to her.
So you weren't running away from me. You were running away from a 10-year-old.
I'm afraid this is all a little much for young Iris. Some gentle reassurance might go a long way, perhaps, Inspector.
Eh? Ahem. Don't trouble yourself unduly, your ladyship. I mean, at least you're not dead, are you?
I don't think that went very well.
Jesus.
Why? Look, I'm not in the middle of an investigation here, Sunshine. I told you not to get under my feet.
And we have investigating to do ourselves.
Yes. I'd like to hear more of what the socially inept inspector has to say.
Why do I have the... Why do I'm thinking about that? Tails gets trolled me where Tom says, "Hey, I'm trying to help him here and make him not feel so bad. So stop being a dick and shut the fuck up." Holly?
And inquire into how Mr. Sholmes' operation is going. Out of all the articles in this storeroom, this is the only thing that shows any sign of being ransacked. What is it, Iris?
That's the box file that my manuscript has been kept in.
Oh! Iris's unpublished story, The Hound of the Baskervilles. Surely that's not what all this...
Sorry, Iris, but if you ask me, he sold it. Without telling you.
We must check inside the box at once.
Yes.
Ah!
It was there. Iris' story was there.
Really? It was? Well, that's good news, isn't it, Iris?
Yes. I mean, of course I believed earlier when he said he deposited it here, but still. It's a relief to actually see it.
Really? Because that's not a very well hidden frown. This is a revolver. A real one!
And quite possibly the murder weapon used to take Mr. Windybanks' life.
What's the matter, Susie? You and Bruno look like you're about to fight.
Well, it's just that I've rarely seen a gun in the flesh.
And I've had issues with guns in the past. But anyway, we saw Mr. Windybank with this yesterday, didn't we?
to take my own life.
It must be the same gun. And last night, when I looked through the spy hole in the door to the storeroom here, that was the same gun I saw in Gina's hand.
Mr. Windybank told us that he only ever had a single bullet loaded in his revolver, didn't he?
Well, it's empty now. The one and only bullet he had in his gun had been fired.
So we can be fairly certain that only a single shot was fired from this revolver. The police have marked the position of the body with a chalk line.
Oh, Mr. Windybank, he was a nice old man.
Well, he was shot once through the heart. Most likely the fellow just died instantly. He wouldn't have felt a thing.
This must be his blood, then.
I don't like to ask at such a wretched time, Iris, but I wonder if perhaps...
Don't worry, Susie. I'm ready for action.
So, now we know the color the chemical turns when it reacts with Mr. Windybank's blood.
Oh, so he's a blue blood. Okay. And it does match our analysis of the blood stain we found in the main store.
No, but let's add this sample to the others we've already collected anyway.
Look on the back of this print here. There's something written on it.
13th February, 9 p.m., article deposited, 1 small box.
Oh, Sylph got her oatmeal.
Yeah.
Loan amount paid, 10 shillings. Redemption deadline, 13th April, 9 o'clock p.m.
So this photographic print is a redemption ticket?
For an article that was deposited 2 days prior to the incident on the omnibus, it would seem.
Yes, a small box. That doesn't tell us much about it, does it?
Perhaps it contains some valuable mementos?
I can't help wondering. Presumably, Mr. McGilda never redeemed the article in question, since he still had the ticket. So isn't it possible that the box is still present somewhere in the shop?
Ah, yes! If it's something McGilda deposited, we need to investigate. Inspector, what do you make of this?
Ah, what have we here then? A redemption ticket for an article deposited here, is it? Looks like someone ran out of office stationery and wrote on the ticket whatever paper was to hand. Yes, this ticket's for Mr. McGill's overcoat. The one the little diver turned up with yesterday.
Oh, actually, no, it's not.
Really? Think you know better than me, do ya?
I'll be right back. I'm gonna go pick up my laundry.
Okay. No, I didn't mean to, Oh, you could take over, Circus.
Riddle's right, Gregsy. It isn't the same ticket. Of course not, it isn't. Of course not, it isn't. I never doubted you, your ladyship. So, what's this all about then, if I might be so bold to ask? That is a second ticket. A second one.
It seems that Mr. McGilden, in fact, had another article in storage here at Windy Banks.
Is that right?
I think we need to discuss this further with the inspector, Mr. Naruhodo.
Oh, good, because he's ever so easy to talk to.
I had that.
This ticket was in one of the pockets of Mr. McGilden's overcoat.
Eh? You mean to tell me?
Yes, there was more than just the music box disc, it seems. Sylph's like, I mean, Iris is keeping him in line.
I should have listened to on the lads taking it back to the yard and examine it properly.
Well, according to the details on this ticket, Mr. McGilden deposited another article here with Mr. Windybank.
Yes, I can see it written here. A small box, was it?
Do you have any idea where it is, Gertie? Any idea at all? And I'm back. It's in the article belonging to Mr. McGilden. It could be an important clue.
Well, yes, I suppose it could be. Please, stop looking at me with those big turquoise eyes and full of hope and expectation. It's too much pressure. I'll lose my marbles. I will go barking.
This is no time for dog impressions, Inspector. Ruff, ruff. Ruff, ruff. Ruff, ruff. Ruff, ruff. Bork, bork.
He's just
Bork,
like going
bork.
through his fish and chips like groceries, though.
Bork, bork.
That's enough sauce from you, Sunshine. I'm not trying to sound not the part. That is one thing that springs to mind.
Fuck you, squirrel.
I'll get you, Terrence.
According to the ticket, the redemption deadline already passed, hasn't it?
Oh yes, of course. Articles are only held for 2 months.
So the small box will no longer be in here then.
That's right. It's been forfeited.
Which means it could be on the shelves in the front of the shop where the forfeited items are offered for sale.
Yes, the shelves in the front. We must search them at once.
That's wasting your time. You're wasting your time.
Oh,
There's a dozen little boxes out there. Hundreds even. We can't possibly know which one you might be, McGill's. The information not written in the ledger.
Sylph saying that's how dogs work, right? Ugh.
Well, I think we should at least have a look just in case.
Of course, your ladyship, of course. Very sensible of you, I'm sure.
This is getting old.
Gracie, do you know anything about Harley? Is his operation finished? Is Hurley alright? Is he?
Well, the thing is,
Don't mince your words, Inspector. Please. You don't mean to say that Mr. Sholmes is...
No. The operation's done and dusted. It's just that, well,
Out with it!
god damn. Yes, ma'am.
She's a badass.
I would English. They use something called a general aesthetic. It's the latest thing. Renders the whole body insensitive.
The whole body
And
anestheticized? Is that even possible?
It means the operation can be complete with the patient is fast asleep.
Goodness. In the Empire of Japan, we could just manage to provide laughing gas for a tooth extraction.
The trouble is, the latest thing isn't always the greatest thing, if you follow my meaning. They could get the medication to work at first, so it took hours for him to nod off, And now, the operation's finished, and they can't get him to wake up apparently.
Oh my.
Damn, overdose much?
No one knows if the anesthetic is still in the system, or if the bloke's just plain exhausted. But anyways, all they can do is stand back and watch until he comes around again.
Hurley.
The motherfucker's been up for days. Give him a break. The moment he opens his eyes, your ladyship, I swear I shall get word to you.
What a surprise. Even in matters of life and death, Mr. Sholmes has to do things his way.
Yep.
So, Inspector, what do you make of the crime scene here?
Ah, you got eyes, haven't you? Use them. It looks like nothing more than less.
Iris, could you lend me a hand?
So, Grexy, what do you make of the crime scene here?
Oh yes, your ladyship, do allow me to humbly explain. Last night, shortly after the hour of 1 o'clock in the morning, Scotland Yard Police attended the scene. And the one and only door to the storeroom was found locked from the inside.
So it was locked from the inside.
The lock appears to be broken now, though. Was that the police officers doing?
Quite right, ma'am. Quite right. We took the liberty of smashing the door in as humbly as possible.
Oh.
As you can see, the victim was discovered.
Prostrate.
Prostrate on the floor. Thus was. And next, a forest-smitten body was found the Valdetta child.
Are you talking about Ginny? She's my friend, you know, Inspector.
Oh. Miss Lestrade, the helpless girl, was caught up on the floor, dead to the world.
She's still alive, you know. Yes. When I saw her, she appeared to be unconscious.
And I'm afraid she had a gun that was used in her other hand.
No.
Presumably, it's the gun that's still down there on the floor now.
In a pocket, we found the key to the door as well.
What? The key to the storeroom? And you say the storeroom had been locked from the inside, Inspector?
Correct. All of which leads her ladyship in something of a sickly situation, I'm afraid. Sticky situation. Obviously, my personal opinion is that it's all sort of a misunderstanding.
Of course it is, Inspector. Of course it is.
Yeah, whatever.
I can't help it. I'm a simp for this little guy.
911? I think we need to get Chris Hansen into the scene.
Yes.
I nearly jumped on my skin there. How come Mr. Wendybank set such a wicked trap?
I doubt he set out to scare anyone.
Is that really the time? I think perhaps we should pay Gina another visit soon.
Oh.
Her trial is tomorrow. We must establish whether or not you will be defending her. I think we should ask her one more time. She may have changed her mind.
Do you remember, Runa? You told her she could rip up the representation papers if she didn't want you to be her lawyer.
Really? Did I say that?
Yes.
Yes, you did.
The deadline for submitting the paperwork is fast approaching.
In that case, we had better hurry back to the prison and talk to Gina again. Well, that's all the time that we're going to have for tonight. So we'll have to find out next week whether or not she still wants us to be our lawyer or not.
Aww.
Yes, yes. Unfortunately, yeah. Even Pastor's like, no!
Now, kids. You have to hold your horses. If not, you can always come back and watch the show.
Yeah, we'll be here same Ace Attorney time, same Ace Attorney channel, even though this is like a Switch gaming channel, technically, for Naked Spaghetti. Well, until next time, I just want to let everybody know that if you're planning on making any type of spaghetti, I would try what is called Harlot spaghetti. It's a spaghetti that was used in Part 4 of JoJo. I actually made it myself. It's really good, and it is spicy, as it claims to be. It uses a lot of red peppers, and it's pretty delicious. You just might want to be careful if you don't like onions or black olives. So that's my recommendation for this week when it comes to spaghetti. I will come up with other pasta recommendations as the time rolls on. But until then, thank you for all watching, and for me, for Circus, and for Mooney, and we'll catch you all next week for another exciting episode of Naked Spaghetti. Arrivederci!
And don't forget to join us Friday on our podcast.